Now that you know how to make a fancy banner, let's spice it up even more and make it interactive. Let's go. There are a few steps when creating an interactive banner, and the first one is pretty simple, but I think is really important to keep yourself organized. And that is to create a folder on Google Drive to house all of your banner items because you're going to have more than one with the interactive option. So as you can see on Google Drive, I have this banner folder, and in that folder, I have put my design that goes at the top, the Welcome to Language Arts banner. Now I'm going to add buttons, and those all need to be separate images. That way you can hyperlink them all separately. So I'm going to create these buttons using Google Slides, but you can use PowerPoint, Canva, or Google Drawings. But for this one, I'm just going to stick with a simple design in Google Slides. So the first thing I'm going to do is delete all of these text boxes because we're not going to use any of them. And then I'm going to change the size of the slide. I do that by going to Page Setup and then Custom. I found that 2 inches by 2 inches works really well for squares or circles, and then 2 inches by 4 inches or 2 inches by 3 inches works really well for rectangles. I like to change the size so that as I download each of these slides as an image, I don't have to resize it once I pull it into Schoology. And when you apply that, it still looks really big, but you got to remember that this is going to export pretty small. So you're going to want to fill the entire canvas with your button. For this one, I'm going to do circular buttons. So I'm going to go to Shape, and then I'm going to choose a circle. And a trick to getting a perfect circle or a perfect square is to hold the Shift button when you drag to draw it. So if I hold the Shift, it will make a perfect circle, and then I can let go. And then I can adjust it and wait till I get that center with those red lines. And once you have your shape drawn, you can fill it with a color. You can add images inside it. You can add words. I'd recommend making it simple yet elaborate enough so students understand what it is they're going to. One of the nice things about using PowerPoint for this is you can actually fill the shape with an image. So you could find like a cool pattern or design off of Google image search and actually put that inside the shape. That's not an option in Google Slides or Google Drawings. So something to keep in mind if you're interested in doing something like that, using PowerPoint instead of these other options. Once you have your button looking the way you want it, I'd recommend copying the entire slide and pasting it, and then creating your next button. That way, the circle is exactly the same in all of them in the same position, and then you just go in, delete out what you don't want, and add in what you do want. Once you have all of your buttons made, then you're going to save as and make sure you put it in the folder that you created for your banner. So I'm going to put banner buttons, and then I'm going to click on this little folder over here, and I'm going to make sure that it is in my banner folder. Then I can go and export each of these buttons into images. So I go to File, and then Download as PNG. Now this only does the current slide, so you'll have to download each of the different buttons using this flow. When you download these go directly to your computer, to your downloads folder, so you'll have to move them to your Google Drive folder in order to keep everything organized. So to do that, you can just click on the folder tab, and then in your downloads, just click and drag it in. And then just keep doing that over and over again until you have all of the buttons done. Now that I have all of my buttons downloaded as PNG files, I'm going to head to Schoology, go to my course, and start creating my banner. Unlike the simple banner that we did last time, where we only had the one image to input to make the update, This one requires multiples. So you need a blank canvas to work with, and then you'll copy and paste it all into the announcements to create your banner. The best blank canvas on Schoology is a page. So I'm going to go add materials and then add page. You can name your page whatever you want because it's going to remain unpublished so students won't ever see it. And then once you have a name, the first thing you're going to do is insert your original banner. So insert the Bitmoji banner or whatever it is you made that you want as the header of your course. You're going to attach the file and you're going to find your banner folder. And once you find it the first time, it will automatically open this folder for the rest of your buttons. And then I'm going to add my banner. Once I have that, I'm going to put my cursor over here to the right, and then I'm going to hit return once. I found that the best way to ensure that all of your buttons line up is to create a table in the page. That way they all have their own cell and they all stay aligned. So I'm going to put in a table, and that's right next to the spell check. 1, 2, 3. I have 4 buttons, so I'm going to do 1 row of 4 cells. If you have more than 4 buttons, I would consider having 2 rows just to break it up so it's not so lengthy. And then as you can see, I have these 4 cells down here, and I'm going to use my arrows to get to the first cell. Once my cursor's in the first cell, I'm going to insert content again and then choose image media. And then I'm going to put in my first button. I do also like that you can see just a tiny bit of the image in the Finder window, but if you are having trouble figuring out which one you need, you can change your view up here to icons, and that can really help you see a little bit better. So I'm going to start with that one. And now my button's in there. Then I'm just going to click into the next cell and I'm going to add the next button. I have all my buttons in here now and I'm looking at it and they line up pretty nicely. Let's say that I wanted these buttons to be smaller though. They're just a little too big and it just doesn't look right. It looks a little clunky. You don't have to start all the way over and change your Google Slides. You can readjust the sizes in here and then make them all uniform. So what you do is I would drag the first one to the size that I want it to be. And then I would click on this little picture right here and I would get the dimensions, 120 by 120. Then I would click on the second one and I would change the dimensions to 120 by 120. And then work my way through all of the icons. Once you have your buttons all arranged, you're going to want to make sure that the table isn't showing these lines. So all you do is put your cursor inside the table, and then this very first button here is border. You're just going to want to uncheck that. And then you'll see that all of those lines turned to little dotted lines, so they'll be invisible when you go to publish this. The next step is to actually make these things interactive. Right now we have these cool buttons, but they don't do anything. So you have to hyperlink them. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go and fetch your link. So here I have this missing work submission form that I want students to fill out anytime that they turn in something late. So I'm just going to hit the send button here, and then I'm going to click on the link, and I'm going to copy that. In Schoology, I have the I finished my late work button. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on this link button. And then I'm going to paste that link into the URL field. And now this has turned into an interactive button. I'm going to do the same with all of these buttons. Once you have everything linked, then you're going to unpublish. So right now it's published to students because it's green. So I'm going to click on that to unpublish it. And then I'm going to click create. So now that I have it saved, I'm going to do the fourth step, which is to copy all of that information. So I'm going to scroll down to my unpublished banner. And I'm going to highlight everything. So I'm going to click behind it and then make sure everything is highlighted and then hit Command C for copy. Now, step 5, the fun part, you're going to go to Updates. And then you're going to click inside the little window to post something and hit Command V for Velcro. Before you hit post, which I've done this so many times, make sure that you click to make it an announcement. So you click on this little window here next to post, click the bell, you can check or uncheck the parents, and then click post. And now you have your banner and you have your buttons. If I click on my buttons, it'll actually take me to the different places. So this is my reassessment request form. Now, as you notice, I have this wee video project. That's not something that would probably stay on my banner all year. But if we were doing a project where I wanted students to go to a specific website that wasn't connected to Schoology, I would create that so that students can just go directly there. And I don't have to rely on them bookmarking it because I've done it for them.